I'm so sorry for how long it took to get this third part out. Thank you for being patient, and honestly, I never would have done it. Would have lost my focus and concentration onto other projects, except for the few of you that were commenting. Loving that. Yeah, it's cool just to make something if you guys found it helpful. So because of that, I'm finishing it up. And this is sort of some tedious stuff here, like putting in all the pipes and the wiring. But hopefully this will help you, or maybe if you screwed up and you didn't mark like which wire goes where. I tried to like lay it out in this so you could just pop this thing open, and it should get you like 95% of the way there. Everything else you should be able to figure out. This should be all you need. So without further ado, let's do it. Alright, so this is the front of the Python, and we're going to orient everything as if we're looking straight head on. So if I'm saying it's the left side, I mean if you're looking at it like this, that's going to be your left side on the left hand side there. So because we're going to be working behind it, and everything's relative, right? So whenever we're talking left, it's not what's in front of you necessarily, but if you imagine to be looking at the front of the Python printer, therefore this is the back. Your left hand side looking at this is going to be the right side. So to not confuse things, always go by this diagram when we talk about it, and we shouldn't have any mistakes as far as it goes. So the right and the left side are symmetric, the same, but then you have two special prints, the motor and the PCB box, and you can see there slightly the different shape. You want the motor one on the left and the PCB one on the right. Alright, so let's just slide those rear modules, keeping in mind the orientation that we were talking about. We're just going to slide those into the front modules, and we're going to flip it up so we're looking down on it from the bottom side. And you're going to need your M325s and your M316s to attach this. So these are the long ones, M325s. You're going to go straight across it horizontally from the back side. And you know, it's kind of helpful sometimes if you have the screwdriver with the flexible part for this, I found. But it can be done with, you know, even the stuff with the bamboo. And then these lower down ones are these diagonal ones. Those are going to be the 16 millimeter length. And once you put those, and then the longer ones we just talked about, it's pretty stable. So you could put a screw in every hole to make it super sturdy. But honestly, I didn't do it. Even the Voxel PLA manual says you don't need to do it. So just get a feel for like however many it takes to make it real stable. And then not have a lot of play in it if you're kind of moving it or flexing it. And if it seems like it's good to go, it probably is. All right, nothing tricky. We're just going to drop down and connect each rear module from the back to its neighboring rear module in the back, and that just gives us some more support. All right, so throughout all this video so far, you can see I have the motor already attached in the back there, as well as that little mini PCB board. So you could attach them now if you don't have them attached already too. I mean, it's pretty self-evident where they go. They only fit into one of those, and as long as you followed this diagram, you'd have them in the right order. So again, it's looking at it from this perspective, the left to the right is from the perspective of the front. So in any case, yeah, it's basically lined up from the front right now. The front you can't see in the video, and you just screw those in, and it's really easy. So doesn't really require any more explanation than that. So we almost got everything together. Now we just got to add the main board, and it goes in, just fits in one way. You just do a push fit into that plastic piece, and then it slides in, and you attach it with two M3 8mm screws. So you can see me do it here, and hopefully we marked it like I did. I think it was in the first step when we marked the one that we took out of the AMS, so it should be all ready to go to know where to connect everything, but I'll kind of go over that in case you didn't mark it too. Alright, now we're just gonna put the sides on and then tighten everything up. Add as many fasteners as you want till you feel it's stable. We're gonna start with these two sides here, and they're just gonna slide on. So you slide on each side, and then you have a bunch of areas you can put screws in. So you need 4 M3 8mm, and then the 16mm you'll use at the bottom. Also, you can use optional, these diagonal ones. You could use a 12mm for the sides, so you can reference those, but just put as many as it takes to actually make it sturdy. And like at this point, the sizes of the screws don't really matter in the fasteners. You just throw them in there, whatever works. Okay, so we're just about done. We just got to put the wires in and the tubes in, and hopefully you mark the wires in, like in the first video I was saying we should do, so you don't even really need to listen to this part. But in case you didn't, I'm going to go over where each one goes, or you could just double check how you did it. But basically, once you get looking at the board, this is from the bottom. We're going to go with the outer feeders. They're going to go to the sides. You can't see it in the picture. It's actually the side of the board. So our outer feeders on each side go to that. Next up, we're going to go with the RFID boards, and that's going to be the nearby boards are going to go to the first one you can see in the picture here. There's a little example. Okay, moving on inwards. We're going to take our middle feeders. These are the last two feeders because we already did the outer ones, and those are going to go to the next adjacent plug. That's just showing the outer feeders to the RFID, and then we have the inner feeders. So we still got a few plugs left, and we're going to start next with the motor. That's going to go straight upwards, and I have another picture here to show. It just goes straight up. Okay, so if the motor's hooked up now we have our Hall and speed sensors. Those also come off the motor, if I believe so. I think they come off the motor at least. So those are going to be your other adjacent ones, and you can see them here. The picture they're holding them and plugging them in. They're different sizes, so it should be obvious which one fits where. And then the power cable there and the bus cable. Those are going to be coming up from the next to the motor as you see it there. And then we're done. All right, now when it comes to the tubing, the best way to do it is you fit it into the motor, you stretch it out where you want to, pull it like they are in this photo, and then you snip it right about the end there. That'll give you enough room. You'll see in the video after this step where I'm doing it that I use like some wire cutters or something. Highly recommend if you have any of the tubing cutters. It cuts it so much cleaner, so much nicer. So that would be a lot better to use than what I used in the video. I actually went back and later on, I think I was having something get stuck up in there, and I recut it nice and clean. It also took a little bit of the slack out of the system, but it'd be ideal to just do it the first way, the correct way. So I also taped the wires down there to get it out of the way. There's those wire cutters I was talking about. All right, so originally this would be the last part, is just to go over putting together the rolls basically for the spools. But actually I would advise not to do this because I ran into a problem if you're using active drying. When I had two dryer units attached, it wasn't getting hot enough, so I added a third one. The third one actually made it too hot, and it sort of melted the inside some aspects of the Python unit. So to remedy that, I went and printed it out in ASA, and then I also had a separate problem. I thought that it was the heat was warping these wheels right here, but actually it wasn't the heat as much as I think it's the way that the fasteners go on. It kind of makes it warp and bend. So you'll see me setting up here right now a brand new set. This is made out of PETG, but then right after this clip, you're going to see what happened later on, like, you know, 6 months down the line, where they're warped. And so there's actually a fix for this that's been released, and I'll link it down below. So just use the fixed spools, reprint them out, and whether it's PETG or ASA, I don't know if it matters, because actually my melting problem was more with the innards of the AMS unit, the Python AMS unit, and this might have just been warped because of the fact that the fasteners were like that. But just to be safe, I printed it out in ASA myself. All right, so this is the best example. It's sort of hard to get a video that shows the warping, but if you can appreciate that, it doesn't look like much, but it's enough to screw up the AMS the way it works. So basically, the tighter you put a spool on, it would tighten it down and warp it. So the fix is to use this little like spring. So just use the link below. It's in the newest version of the Python anyways. If you're using that, which you probably are if you're watching this video now, then you should already have it. So it shouldn't be a worry.
Excuse me there. So one of the differences, besides the bigger, here's probably the biggest difference. Actually, I missed it at first, but if you look here real closely, you'll see like a little tiny brim. See that? So this is on the outside. This is right where the bearing is put. So before, the bearing was pushing down right up against the plastic and making it warp. Now it has that little tiny brim, you know, so that's what's going to make it not warp, it seems like. I think the other part on the other side, like this part right here, and this spring part too, that's just to center the filament. I don't think it actually is doing anything to prevent the warping, which is a problem that I ran into, and I don't really care where it sits as long as it works fine. You can see this is a hideous orange print, but I figured it doesn't really matter for this part. So anyways, yeah, I'll let you know how it works.
All right, so anybody who's just curious what I meant about like the innards melting a little bit, here you can see that's what happened. It's like right around these RFID boards, it got too hot and kind of melted around the PETG, and it kind of just screwed up the way that they sit on there, along with the problem with the spool holders like we were just talking about. So they combined to just make it not work right. So I started running into all kinds of trouble before I realized that. So my advice to anybody who's printing this out is use the newest Python version. That'll have the correct rollers. And then I don't know whether the new version changes this, but if I could do it over again, I would just print out ASA for the exact pieces you're seeing right here, which is basically the front spool holders. Or ABG, or what is it? I don't know, I use ASA because it doesn't smell so bad, but ABS or something that's more resistant to heat, if you're going to be using at least 3 of those heaters on there, which for me, it was like 2 wasn't enough, 3 was maybe too much. also, the other last piece of advice is to make sure that the enclosure, when you make it, which I don't have on this guide and I don't plan on doing one, but the enclosure, make sure it's like really sealed up good. So whether you need to use heat inserts or you just use like silicone gel or something when you make it, it seemed to have a lot of leaks. So the reason why 2 might not have been enough is around the same time I upgraded to 3, I also put silicone gel and like stopped any leaks throughout the whole enclosure. So you might actually be able to just get away with 2 as long as you have it, excuse me, as long as you have a nice sealed up enclosure. So yeah, that's just a quick summary. ASA, if possible, for the front loaders. Make sure you do the new updated build for the rollers, like for the spool holder things. And then the enclosure, make sure you have it like siliconed up or like completely flushed so that you don't have any leaks. And that's about all the advice I have. I mean, listen, I think this is still a sick-ass AMS unit. Like, it's great at what it does, and it does some things that even the newer model, which I have from Bambu, like for example the fact I can have TPU and stuff in there, you know, it beats even the Bambu's newest stuff. So even though they've come out with one that can dry on its own, the Python's still legit, and I think you just have to be okay tinkering and working out a couple bugs. And thankfully, if you're doing it now, you've probably all had them worked out with the newest version. So just do the ASA and do a good job on the closure, you should be good.